Welcome to BBRC, Britain and English. Well, if I may, I'd like to just give a quick shout out, it's a very modern phrase there, or a quick welcome, say hello to Steph, Precious and Princess. They live not far from here in the locality, and I saw them yesterday and haven't seen them for about 2 years. And also I'd like to say hello to Maddie. Well, he's actually a radio presenter for the BBC. I'd like to say hello to him. He's actually thinking about looking at some of my productions here. So, hello to Manny as well there. Well, on to the news for this week. We had a big storm last week. Unfortunately, a lot of damage, but fortunately not too many deaths, although there were about 3 or 4, sadly, with falling trees, etc. Our dear Queen has got COVID, but luckily she's had all the inoculations, she's had the injections. And COVID restrictions are due to end on Thursday, about a month early. So all these posters here, similar to what I've got here, will soon be taken down. And that's it. We're moving forward. And there's another booster injection coming down the tracks in the pipelines. And probably more than that actually as well. Certainly ready for the autumn, or if not before. Well, today I did promise you last session we talk about a few things to do with education and handwriting in particular. So what I'll do is I'll talk about a few things. I'll also give you some words as well to look up, and we'll go from there. Well, I've got a good old cup of rosy here, a cup of tea, in other words. The good old English cup of tea. And you might want to try a few tea brands out if you come here. No doubt you can get them in your own country, those of you who are from abroad. But I'll start off with talking a little bit about the Education Act in this country. We've got a wide and diverse history, and certainly going back to 1870, the Education Act. This was written to deal with the provision of school places nationally. There we are. And back in those days, well, before the 1870s and thereafter as well, most children, most pupils would have had to have worked in a workhouse or on the land to provide the livelihood for the family. So they would have had to join in and help out and go to work. Even at a very young age. And that all changed over the years. And of course, for many years, you had to pay for the education, whereas nowadays, it's all provided by the state. But in 1918, the Fisher Act, devised by Herbert Fisher, made education compulsory for 5 to 14-year-olds and also 14 to 18-year-olds as well. There we are. And leaving school has changed in age over the years. Certainly it was 15 to 16 in 1970-71, but I think it didn't actually come until 72. That was announced way back in 1964, so it took about 6-8 years. And that was the Newsom report. And in 1944, during the war, the age was changed from 14 to 15 before leaving school. So it's had 2 changes. So in 1944, it was changed to 15, and 72. By the time it all changed, it was 16, which it is currently today. But of course, some pupils will go to school till they're 18, depending on the school, what type of school it is, because some leave at 16, some leave at 18. Now, I'd like to also talk a little bit about handwriting, as I promised last time. Well, sadly, handwriting is dying out due to the more intense now use of keypads and laptops and tablets, etc. And of course, most young people now, including those of school age, do have a mobile phone. Or whether we like it or not, that's how technology is going. and they usually spend a lot of time texting, especially when they're out of school. There's more being typed these days, perhaps informally, and less letter writing to most of the traditionalists discussed. But I say keep it up, keep up the writing, and write a letter to your auntie, your grandmother, or even your parents, whatever, or your friend, and enjoy it. There, I've got some examples of some writing there as well. Some people say my writing is cursive. It's certainly not calligraphy. Calligraphy is sort of all in line, in the same shape, same size, and official documentation would have been written like that, but this is more cursive. In fact, a lot of official documentation was actually written in calligraphy on vellum or parchment, I think it is, which is actually animal skin. Certainly legal documents over the centuries. Of course, we now use paper. Looking at some other examples of handwriting here, British as opposed to our continental counterparts. I've got a list of numbers there. There we are. The 14790. There we are. There, that's the British way at the top. You can see the continental underneath, the variation with the 1, the 4. And I put those, but denoted those numbers rather than the rest of them because they're more or less similar. There we are. The 14790 and 0 on the continent does tend to change slightly in some countries, and as with the Z there. The date format, as you can see at the bottom there, slightly differently written, certainly in America, where they tend to write the month first. We write the day first. There's another piece of information there. There we are. The standard writing is actually, should be noted as well, that is more or less the same as print, the printed way. So the French, Germans or Italians who would slash numbers like 1 and curve 9s, etc., slash a 7, normally that is not the way it's printed. So it's printed the standard way, more or less the universal way. Well, moving on from that, I've got some more information to share with you here. I've tried to save paper by putting it on the back of envelopes here. Now, another thing you might notice if you come to this country, those from abroad, telephone numbers. Now, the telephone numbers, if you're not using a mobile, of course, if you've got the 11-digit number on a mobile, and you don't really worry about codes. You might do if you're phoning internationally. But well, we've got a way of writing in this country. Now, the French do double digits, but certainly, so I could write the French number like that. And I'm putting, as you might be able to notice, spaces there. So that's a space. That's a defined space there at the top. But the British way of doing it is this way here. So I've got the code first. There's the code. So for example, Sheffield there. Sheffield dialing code there, the area code there, then the telephone number. That's the personal telephone number of the person. So that's the actual landline number of the person there. But that's the actual area dialing code there. That's how we write it. And you'll always have an 01 or 2 number, which is with the area code. All the rest are not. They are 09s, 08s, they're all different. And careful with those numbers because they can cost a lot of money. So just be careful with some of those other numbers, especially if you're trying to phone them out on a mobile, because they do have various costs, and sometimes they're peak rate numbers, and well, they're certainly expensive. I think it's the 09s, and there's certain others which can 0871 used to be quite expensive as well, so they are expensive. So there's a little bit about literacy there, numbers, and I hope that helps you in some way. We've got a lot of internationals in this country, a lot of people from various countries, and sometimes they don't get told, but we do try to integrate with people, as you probably know. But whereas other countries, they like to keep their national way. They're certainly the French, they're very nationalistic, but we try and be a bit different, and we welcome people from France say that they feel more welcomed here in some way. So, but another traditionalists don't like us changing everything for other people. They say, well, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. So there's another way of looking at it. We've got some words to finish off here, and I hope they'll help you. And next time round, I'm going to start to take some words from the dictionary in alphabetical order. But for now, I'll give you some new words, possibly you wouldn't have heard before, and certainly you can look them up in your own time. Accumulation. Accumulation. Abhorrent. Abhorrent. The adjective there is abominable. Abominable. Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. buttress, buttress. Camouflage, camouflage. Cynical, cynical. Deference, deference. Delegate, delegate. Detriment, detriment. And mow, mow. Well, there we are. Well, at the end, you'll probably find amusing. Well, I'll tell you, it's another word to say cutting grass. Mow the lawn, we might say. Some people might say from abroad, oh, is that the posh way? But it's just another way of saying cut the grass, mow the lawn. Probably a bit more cultured way, but anyway, thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed it on this short session. Next week, we'll have a look at a few more words, and I'm going to try and make sure these sessions are on a Tuesday or Wednesday from now on. We're going towards spring now. It's a nice day here, and hopefully we'll have lighter evenings. It's certainly sunny here after the bad weather we had last week with the storms, and so moving on towards the spring and the lighter evenings. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Bye now.